Hey, everybody, this is a podcast for me, a podcast for us, as well as a podcast for you, you motherfuckers. We're coming at you hot and heavy with some hard shit. Not really, but, I thought it would be great. If you like us, please like and subscribe. We're on the YouTube at Podcast for We. It's like a little yellow thing called Podcast for Me, but you guys will figure it out one day, huh? All right, how you doing, Ever? What's up?
All right, man. Just hanging in there. It's getting hot as funk out here.
I got the tank top on. It's fucking hot. I'm upstairs, so shit, heat rises.
Oh, no shit, huh?
Mhm.
I'm in Santee, where hot air expands. It creates a low-pressure system and tends to draw in more hot air.
You are in Santee, where it is Santee, and it's fucking hot. And that's Hey, all right. So let's talk about the format of the show. I was thinking we were talking, kind of texting earlier about the format in the sense of production value and whatever on that report. But I'm just saying, like, what I wanted to do is try to incorporate pictures more. So, like, we did it a couple times, but I don't know, be more fluid with it. It's cool though. You type fast in the sense you were looking for shit up. Well, you were looking up right away. You pulled it up. So it'd be good if we both have like if we're talking about some shit, to pull up a picture every now and then. I got some stuff in the queue for some shit, but
well, that's something you would do in post.
You could do that in post, but real time is real time. Most people do it.
That's true. Yeah.
If you watch a lot of podcasts, they'll do that in real time. They'll Google it and show it, It'd be kind of weird to tag the time, then put it in there, and then we're pretending that, right now you're seeing a picture when we can react in real time.
Well, also what I mean is, like, sometimes we'll be talking about something, and it's just helpful to have an image of it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We might not think about it in the moment, but later on you'd be like, yeah.
When we have time to fucking do post, okay? I mean, it took me a week just to post the other fucking pod just to get it in there, and it's not that hard.
You're right. It's not. It just takes time.
It does take time. It takes an hour to upload. You know what I mean?
Too bright right there.
It's not too bad. It's good. It's good. That's too much. That's good. You're good. Wait, check it out. Am I too bright?
Yeah, the middle of your face is washed out. You look like a fucking scary movie.
Turn my little fucking thing. I also got this other light too. Let's see here. Let's see. This good pod as I'm talking. I'm like, look what I could do. Wait, where's the thing?
They sell like kits and bundles and stuff. I didn't know it was like a whole industry. Like they have the cameras and the lights and the whole setup.
Oh, you mean pod?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wanted to get this box that you plug into and it can shift between views and shift between audios. It's kind of, you don't really need it for what we're doing because
like a switch box.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, and then like you can put like a soundboard into it, and so therefore like boo, 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 press a button and do it. Because right now, if I put sound right now, I don't think it would come up on your end.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I shared a video. We were watching the Star Wars little videos, and when I shared it, like I hear the audio, but you did. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah. I don't remember.
All
right. It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Okay, yes. Sharing others. All right, so the format of the show. Like I was thinking, also like we're trying like I consciously think I'm trying to get the show down to like an hour, hour and a half or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work out that well. No, there's no freedom for you. You're stuck. Max, what you doing? Guest starring Max, and he's gone.
It's like a giant version of my dog.
Yeah, I know he is. Your dog. Yeah, he's quiet.
Yeah, you wanted to put like a time limit on it, like a strict, like a stop time.
Yeah, you're.
I kind of feel like that would limit the free flow of information. Because I like watching like Meet the Press and stuff like that. And sometimes they're like, oh, well, we got to cut it off right there. And they were just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
think the same way.
Maybe not introduce a topic, past a certain time.
Yeah. Give me a second. I just fucking made a mess.
Way to go, jerk.
Fuck, I gotta clean that shit up one day. No,
One day.
you're right though, because what would happen was like I was listening to the last podcast or watching, and we were like, "You're fizzling out. This is it." And then, holy fuck, do we go like 30 more minutes after that? And I introduced 2 more topics after I said, "This is it," and then we just kept going. And it's my fault. But I was like, God, I was so mad at myself as I was listening to it because it was so good. Like everything, was good stuff. But at the same time, it was like I'm the one who fucking kept pushing it.
I was getting kind of like,
I felt like it was like 150, for me in the morning. And I was just like, but I was just on it, like, I was drinking, It's like I got Mountain Dew in me now, so that should calm me down.
I forgot to grab my tea. I'll get some tea in a minute.
Yeah. So, all right, yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. You're totally right. It should go as long as it should, but we should for sure just not add another topic where we're like, this is it,
Let's go till 8, and not introduce anything after that.
You're right. There you go. And then yeah. So what do you mean 8? So what's that?
For you, it's 11 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And I'm fucking hungry too, so like I always get hungry after these fucking things.
You haven't eaten?
No, I eat a lot.
Yeah, I don't eat that late.
Yeah. Well, you're smart. I'm not. Okay, here's another recap of the show too. Like as in yeah, there's Bella. Yeah,
You hear that?
When we're having the conversations, you do elevate the conversation. I have to say, there is a lot of back and forth, and you keep it strong. Tell you what.
Well, you did change my mind. I keep thinking about it. It was a couple of casts ago about Iron Man 3, and I'm gonna buy the 4K and watch it again.
I watched it on 4K on the Disney
and watch it through that lens because I might get stuck. I might be getting stuck on what it was like when I watched it the first time, but now watching it in context of the movies around it, might be better now.
I've been watching me and the kid been watching it in order, right? So we just got to Doctor Strange, and it's funny. There's a lot of these movies I was like, oh, like Doctor Strange was okay, but after watching like from the beginning, and we watch it every week, okay? So we got to Doctor Strange, and I was like, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a pretty good movie. It's a good eat. Like you would think that it was like a one time and you're done, but it's not bad to watch again.
No, it's pretty entertaining.
Okay, really good. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I gotta get the 4K one.
I like the direct, like when you go in order from all of them, the direction of Doctor Strange is pretty cool because it's like it's a different movie altogether. Like each movie has its own kind of thing going for it. I felt like it was going to be like a rehash of like Iron Man in a way because he's arrogant and then he, takes the hero's journey. But it was pretty cool that it kind of follows that tread, but it's just such a different thing. It's just like it introduces like a world of possibilities.
Right.
But when you watch it, you're like, how did this guy lose to Thanos? Like, I mean, he could put him in a mirror world. He could fucking like go into other dimensions. He could have caught up. Why didn't he trap him in a fucking time loop like the other guy?
Story reasons.
Oh yeah, the 1,000,001 abilities. A good MacGuffin.
He might have tried all that stuff.
Yeah.
In the other ones, and none of them worked. And he was like, okay, I got to do the butterfly thing. Then I got to do the 100 thing where I lash them in different directions. And I got to do this other thing. I think maybe that's what it was. My
theory on that is, say he beat him, right? He had contingency plans in place because it's beautiful how they did that. Because in Endgame, they had already beaten him, right? But then like some kind of a time travel thing happens and he comes back. So one could argue with all the possibilities when Doctor Strange beats him, somehow he comes back.
Right. Yeah.
and so the Iron Man one was the only way to end it forever. I mean, like that works. That kind of
That 14,601 possibility thing, that the Russos really fucked everybody up on that one.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
like
put all that shit to bed.
hey, countless times I've always said, if only they would say some blurb to explain it. I don't care what, as long as they explain the some ridiculousness thing. Like, why didn't they do this here? Superman could do this. Why can't he do that here? That kind of thing.
I was talking to my students about we're doing social emotional learning, right?
Mm.
And kind of coping with things when they happen. And I told them something that I kind of always tell myself, whatever happens, when I really want something, keeping my job, losing my job, whatever, teaching's kind of crazy right now. Whatever happens, hopefully it's the best thing that happens.
What do you mean by that? That's weird. That's a weird way of thinking.
So even if it seems bad, hopefully that's the bad thing that needed to happen for something better to happen later on. Because what if you get what you want, but really that ends up closing another door that would have been better than what you thought?
I 1000% agree with you what you said, but your original comment, maybe this is the best thing. I didn't get that.
Well, hopefully, like, okay, I was like, okay, hopefully they rescind my pink slip, my layoff notice, because of these other things that I'd submitted, right, as evidence, we went to like a court and all this stuff. It was a big old deal, right? But throughout it, I was like, you know what? However the judge rules, whether he accepts my extra year of seniority or whatever, whatever ends up happening, hopefully it's the best thing that happens.
I hear you.
Hopefully it's the best thing in the long run.
You told your kids that you might be let go?
So, well, they asked, because it was in the news a lot. So towards the end of the last school year, they would ask me. They would be like, "Mr. Nava, are you in danger of getting laid off?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, but yeah, because I'm a popular teacher. I hate telling people this, but I am." And so
Sure.
when those kids realize that somebody that they look up to and respect at school is in danger of getting laid off, it becomes real, because they want to keep working with me. So they might tell their parents, and their parents might be like, what the hell? This guy's a really good teacher. He was the only one that could get through to my kid. Why are they going to lay him off? And then that's the kind of pressure that gets put on school boards and shit like that, comes on the news. When they start hearing stories like that, because it makes it real, but today, the discussion was, kind of coping with adversity, and it was something that we touched on. And I told him, sometimes it looks like something bad that happens. Sometimes it looks like it's a terrible, terrible thing, and in the moment, it probably is. But you never know what that's gonna lead to afterwards. And so, with the whole Doctor Strange thing, them defeating Thanos on the spot, him, cutting off his hands, or cutting him in half or whatever, doing that circle thing, maybe it would have seemed like the right thing, but how far out was he looking to past that event? And maybe something worse was going to happen afterwards.
So you agree?
Agree with what?
What I was saying, like,
yeah. I mean, and the Russos, I mean, they nailed it by saying that he saw 14,601 possibilities, and that was the way to go.
It's crazy that Doctor Strange has the ability to die for infinity, like because when he fought that one dude, and I was just like, they didn't create a situation in which I thought this character has that kind of willpower. You know what I mean? That's more of like the second, third movie. It's kind of haphazardly put out that he has this kind of will, and I'm like, you're just saying that. It's kind of like Anakin and Padme. They're together. They love each other.
They kind of they jump through it. It goes by really fast. But when he first comes out of that accident, and he's in bed, and he's got like nails and metal through his hands, and he tells them, well, do this thing, right? I think it was like a stent to provide more blood to his hands.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we could do that, but we'd have to open your fucking hands up again. He was down to do it, and then going through the physical training and stuff, and being pretty resilient most of the time. There was some times where he was, like kind of wigging out right on his girlfriend and stuff.
Sold me. You're right. You're right. You
So
sold.
I could buy him having the resolve to, what, fuck this. I spent months in a bed, fucking with my fucked up hands, and maybe he could spend some time with what's his face in that alternate
being murdered.
Universe. Yeah.
I like just being murdered though, for like the magnitude of what he put himself into is kind of lessened because it's comedically done. And I thought it was more of a like this. It feels like this is more of an important thing, but I didn't feel it. And you're right. You're right. They did writing wise. They did layer in a way that he has the willpower because the hands.
They could have made it a little bit more obvious. Like he could have looked at his hands, and then you could have maybe seen him thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like I can do this again.
Yeah, but it's such an extreme thing though to be murdered. I mean, like I figured that's a cool sacrifice in the sense like I think writing wise that should have been I don't know it's good, it's really good, but like it's like the gravity of it. So when he's in other move like Infinity War, he should have more gravity to him, but he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like Iron Man sacrifices himself like the one time when he throws a missile, and like that's felt throughout the movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's more of a time thing. It's not like it was a great written spot. It was just you created this character and you built him up to this point, and then then he does a sacrifice and it kind of works. So like I feel like the ultimate sacrifice of just dying over and over and over, it sounds like a great fucking thing, but I think it feels wasted on this movie.
What's a good thing Dormammu didn't watch the Old Guard and torture him the whole time, like slow deaths.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that too. That's on the table. But you know what? I mind canon that shit. I was like, all right, you have this interdimensional being who's just used to getting his way, and all of a sudden he's caught in this time loop. He was starting to panic for the first time. Like, what the fuck is this? This fucking what is this feeling? Boredom, but he doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, because he's been around a long time. He's a cosmic being, and this is the first fucking time he's seeing something like this.
You know what's cool is they mentioned the living tribunal. So he gets the stick, and then he the other guy goes, "That's the stick of the living tribunal," and I was like, "It's pretty small for the living tribunal, because the living tribunal is like three-headed dude who's really tall,
Cosmic beings, they could probably change size depending on who they need to talk to.
True that. You know what? I wanted to jump back into what you were saying. We talk about what the wheel of humanity kind of thing, the wheel of good and bad, where it's good today but it's bad tomorrow. What's bad tomorrow could be good today. We've talked very vividly about that, and I thought it was pretty cool that you bring that up with your kids, because it's like, yeah, but the way you said it in the beginning, I was like, that doesn't really mesh. But everything else you said, I was there. You know what I mean? Like everything you said, I thought was correct, but the way you got there in the sentence, is it the best thing, or if it's the worst?
Whatever happens, I hope it's the best thing that could happen.
Yeah, that doesn't, you know what I mean? Like everything else you said makes sense.
Yeah.
That sentence right there.
I get it. I mean, I try to make it short when I explain it to people, but it's
thing. It's a real deep story. I mean, like I've only heard that. Like I've always known. Yeah, there's people who have always came to this conclusion. The wisest of wise. Is this a good thing? Well, you don't know. And then the next day, is this a bad thing? Well, you don't know. And then I've heard people say to turn pain into good. Lost your job, good. You get to find another one. You broke up with your girlfriend, good. You can go find another one. Some bad shit. You don't say something like your kid died, good. Like, you don't go there, but you say other shit like that. And like I've only, like, the best way I've ever heard that version of what you were saying was the parable of some fucking guy who's walking in the village, and then the snake bites him in the leg, and then you make it up any way you want, and you're like, that's a bad thing, and all the villagers are like, you got bit by a snake, and then like people felt sorry for him, that so they gave him like money and stuff, and then he became rich, and then that's a good thing, right? And but then like a warlord came and found that he was rich, took all his money and his women, and he was like, fuck, now I'm poor, and that's a bad thing, right? But then like the king heard about this story and fucking hooked him up, and you just keep going on this wheel of forever.
There's a story similar to that in Charlie Wilson's War. Tom Hanks is talking to Tom Hanks' character is Charlie Wilson. He's talking to some CIA guy. He's been all over the place, and he's telling the story. He's telling a story about this boy in this village, and he gets a horse, and the people in the village say, how great for him, and the wise man of the village says, we'll see.
Oh, okay. Here we
boys riding the horse, falls off the horse and breaks his leg. And the villagers say, how terrible. And the wise man says, we'll see. There's a war. He can't go to war because he's hurt. And the villagers say, how good for him. And the wise man says,
we'll see.
We'll see. So, yeah, you never know what's going to lead to what domino effect is going to lead to what. And it could go back and forth over and over and over again. And like you said, the wheel of humanity. You never know. That's it.
Yeah. I want to.
Oh, man, have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't. But
fuck, it's a good movie.
Is it a good movie?
Yeah, it is. It's a really good movie.
One guy in it.
And the writing's really good. The banter's really good. They talk some mean shit to each other. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, that dude's on point.
Yeah, was on point.
Yeah. Well, he is in the movie.
He's dead.
Not in life anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say. I remember back in the day, you move faster than I do. I think maturity wise. I remember you were like, Eric Clapton's a good movie, and I'm like, you're fucking crazy or something like that. Some what's his name, George Clooney movie, and you're like, that movie's good. Not Eric Clapton. It was called Michael Clayton, I think it was, or was it The Peacemaker? What?
I think Peacemaker. I don't think I've seen Michael Clayton. I think I know what you're talking about.
Like it was like I looked at that, I was like fucking boring because I'm all Independence Day mode, what I mean? And then it's funny that you like Charlie Wilson's War. That's another movie, and I thought I had grown up. You know what I mean? Because I watch boring movies too. I watch documentaries, and then you say Charlie Wilson's War, and I'm like, fuck, how the fuck did I not see this movie? Because I remember when it came out, I was like, this shit's the shit. It's a based off a true story, isn't it?
It's based on a true story. I haven't done I just watched it a couple days ago. I haven't done like a history versus film thing on it, but
who does, man? But, it does.
But you know what? It gives you the overall gist of how the U.S. backed the Afghans in the war against the Soviets. And so we went in and the CIA trained them how to make bombs and how to mount an insurgency. Basically, how to create Vietnam, but in Afghanistan for the Soviets.
Help Afghanistan against the Soviets.
Yes.
Oh, you were saying in the Soviets against Afghanistan.
So the Soviets invaded Afghanistan.
Yes, and then we helped Afghanistan.
We trained them on all the shit that they ended up using against us.
The way you were saying it, though, is we were helping the Soviets.
No. Well, I mean, no.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, we helped.
It just sounded like it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we created Osama bin Laden, basically. That's what we did. They used our tactics against us.
Well, and they talk about that in the movie too.
Oh, they did.
But it ends really, really good. The whole time you're kind of having fun with this politician, being able to push all the right buttons and pull all the right levers to get this thing done and manipulate people, and twist people's arms into getting this shit done. And then the end, you don't really realize where it's leading you until you get to the end. And I think it came out right around the time that we were in Afghanistan. And so it kind of makes you realize really that history repeats itself. And if we don't learn from it, we're doomed to repeat it over and over and over again.
If it's funny you said that, like, I don't know if you like, we repeat the same things. We talk about this shit all the time. We don't learn from the past. We're gonna repeat it. It's funny you fucking said that shit. I didn't even prompt you. It's so true. It's so true. So check it. I've been working this urgent care forever now, and I don't have days off. Just saying. And we've been doing COVID testing. So one of the sites that we have is a COVID testing only, which isn't true because we do other shit too. But the brunt of what I do is COVID testing, and I have to say, that is a lot of work in the sense that the sheer volume of people coming in.
I
Because
fucking believe it.
yeah, because we have the hospitals do testing as well, but we're like the only game in town that does it too. So what you do is you grab a Q-tip, like it's a long one, and it goes all the way in the nose, and I keep it in there for about like 10 seconds, and then I break it off into a thing. I make everybody cry. You know what it's like to make people cry fucking all day, for 12 fucking hours.
Oh.
Anyways, so this shit, now I'm deeper into COVID. Okay, Mountain Dew. No, I'm deeper into COVID than I thought I would be, because I'm now behind the curtain. Shit gets weird. So, big burps. I have to okay. So people come in and they say I have to ask them questions on why they're getting the COVID testing, right? So it's basically I remember when my first patient for it though, I just figured I didn't look at the questions I'm supposed to ask. It's a template. It's a template that you're supposed to go through, but there's 1,000 templates, and you kind of get the gist of it if you've been doing this for a bit. So COVID testing, I just figured like, what are your symptoms? Where were you at? That kind of bullshit. But then I looked at the questions that they want. The big ones were you wearing a mask? Was the person you were exposed to wearing a mask? Indoors or outdoors? So so I'm like, hey, yeah. So like you get a couple, and they went to a party. A lot of these fucking people are going to parties. It's a big thing. And it's like, well, we had it outdoors. And I go, and I feel dumb asking, but I have to. So I have to go, were you guys wearing masks? I already know the answer. You're outdoors. You weren't wearing masks. They said, no, we weren't wearing masks, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then they look at me like, as in, like I had judged them. You know what I mean? But you're here at the clinic getting the test because 4 of you fucks tested positive. So like, I mean, would you expect? And I don't hold anything against these fucking people. I just don't. Because it makes sense. I would have had a party. I would have been outdoors. Makes sense to me. Why would I wear a mask with the party of people I know?
Right.
But there you go. They get the positive COVID, and I'm like, this is different than what I thought it would be. I figured that people, I guess, could have parties, But like, what? Okay, so what is this? So like, you have to wear a mask even indoors?
You mean even outdoors?
Even well, so there's
because the guidance has been, if you can't stay, if you have to be within 6 feet of people outdoors, you should be wearing a mask.
But even if you had a party, like realistically speaking, how many you Mexican,
Yeah, no one's fucking wearing a mask.
Yeah, I'm saying that all Mexicans, but I'm like, Mexicans have big families, and they have parties, and they're all legit, So like, they go outside and have a party, they're not gonna wear a mask.
Well, the thing is, okay, when they say outdoors, was it somebody's patio? How big, how far apart were they able to be? Did they shake hands? Did they fucking do the bro fist bump? Because those are all things that, I think we're starting to shake loose of.
You're at a no, yeah, but you had a fucking party outdoors. Even then, there's no way you're not gonna, say there's like 50 of you.
Yeah, no, I've been to outdoor parties, but like at my Uncle Jack's ranch, he's sitting on 12 acres.
Yeah.
And we're sitting, we're not sitting like right up against each other, but we're sitting a good distance away. And talking in a big circle.
Maintained the distance then.
Yeah, we're maintaining distances, and we're not wearing masks, but we're not all up in each other's faces like telling secrets and shit.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. Less than 6 feet, greater than 6 feet. So they are getting closer, and I have to pick. I have to nitpick. Like, I'm like, well, was there any time? Okay, so this lady, right? she a mom. You could tell that she is the Republican-y type. And like when I'm at work, there's no agenda here. I don't give a fuck. I'm just
Right.
doing, I'm just testing you and I'm asking questions. I'm doing everything, you know. And I don't care. I just know, like, I'm not who I am here, there. You know what I mean? Because I don't care. I'm trying to move to the next patient. Really, I'm just like, I'm a prostitute. I'm trying to get to my next trick. You know, I'm moving as fast as I fucking can because there's like 6 other people waiting. You know what I mean? So like, I gotta move as fast as I can. So like, I'm asking questions. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, basically. And then I go, so if indoors, well, okay, so the mom and the grandma are in the room together because they're being seen, right? And it's like a thing in which her son tested positive, right? So that's why they're being tested. And I asked the stupid fucking question I'm gonna ask. I go, so were you when you were exposed to him, when was this? Well, we lived together or some shit like that. I go, okay, so yesterday, right? Or today, right? She goes, yeah. And I go, so it was it indoors or outdoors? I already know the answer. It's indoors because they live together. She goes, and I go, mask or no mask? And she goes, well, I don't wear a mask indoors. So why would you ask me that? Of course I wouldn't wear a mask. She's taking offense to it, like I'm anti, like I'm pro mask or one of those kind of things. And she goes, well, of course you wouldn't wear a mask indoors. And I go, yeah, I know, but that's not. I'm just asking because I have to write this shit down. And then she goes,
Yeah.
and she starts, well, don't report that because if you report that I wasn't wearing a mask, we're gonna be locked down forever. Like she was trying to rationalize why she shouldn't wear a mask indoors. And like my heart was there though. I get it, like so and then she goes, well, he wears a mask all the time. And I go, yeah, but he tested positive for COVID. That's why you're here. And then she goes, well, yeah, but you know, he wears his mask all the time. And I was just like, okay, all right, well, fuck, I don't care. Like I get it. And
Right.
and so how the fuck I don't even know how this works, man. Because she's indoors, they're following their precautions, as it were. I mean, people are still gonna get it, though. That's the thing. So,
Yeah, people are still going to get sick. I mean, there's no way that we're going to be down to zero ever.
mm-hmm.
That's an unfortunate thing where somebody went out, got sick, didn't realize it, brought it home,
Yeah,
and now it's
it's still
spreading in the home.
it literally like in my head. I wear a mask and I got the thing, and like not in my head, but I mean in my head, I remember not to touch my. I just touched my ear, but I'm just saying like when I'm in there, if I scratch my head, I'm like, like I'm like, did I scratch my head? And that's a thing that goes in my head. So I'm pretty good at not touching my face. But I can only imagine like Bob, he working in a meat factory. He don't fucking know. Yeah, he could touch his face, boogers, everything, dude. And then like I was just like, I mean, like, I don't know, man. This whole thing with the mask, no mask.
I like what you said that the lady commented, well, don't write that or don't report that because they were going to be on lockdown forever. It's like don't report accurate data
Yeah.
because it's going to look bad and make us have to stay safe longer.
But it was such a flippant reality in her brain. She was just like, I can't wear a mask indoors, but you got it. Like
No, but I think it's scarier that the idea of don't tell the truth because then we're going to stay on lockdown.
yeah.
It's it's such a Trumpian thing, and that's going to become a thing. That Trumpian, such a Trumpian thing to say. That if you hide the data, that the situation's going to be better. If you don't look at the data, then we'll be able to go back to normal.
I
If you don't look at it, it'll go away.
I actually have something about that though. So Trump did say that we shouldn't test as much as we should. And I have a theory that somebody told him a very complicated thing and he distilled it into that. So check it. I've been doing this 10 years, man, doing the flu test. And so in a normal, like, so when flu season happens, we get an influx of people, right? And it gets to a point where sometimes you're doing the flu test, sometimes you're not, because you could just go by, what is it called? By symptoms. You're like nausea, body aches, they got flu, and you give them the Tamiflu or whatever the fuck, right? So that doesn't get reported. And then the flu itself, as a test, when you test positive, that doesn't get reported. I mean, that's not like I mean, maybe in the hospital, but I doubt it. There's a form that you fill out. So if you get chlamydia,
Okay.
because you have
Oh,
time. Yeah. No, there's a sheet you fill out and you mark chlamydia or TB. Say you have tuberculosis, HIV. You have to fill it out and you fax it to the CDC. They get their fucking numbers, right? Now, when it comes to flu, that's not a thing you're doing all the time. I'm only saying this because I worked at several urgent cares in the family practice. You don't actually report this thing as much as possible. You just don't. And you have like 80 patients a day. You know what I mean? And then you're testing 60 of them, or not even testing. You're just saying 60 of them have flu, and it gets charted as such. Now, this isn't crazy, right? What I'm saying is like, that's normal. It's accepted everywhere where I've worked. And it's not a thing to be like, let's attack these fucking family practices and urgent cares. They just don't report the flu as much because you just treat for the symptoms pretty much.
well, yeah, we're not, but I mean, to be fair, we're not in a war against the flu right now, you know.
No, but listen to the story I'm saying. For 10 years, we've been doing this. There is a number of how many people get flu. That does not reflect the amount of people reporting it. So that number is reflected on how many people are reporting it. Okay. Now, the difference between flu and this COVID testing, I'll tell you right now, and I've done the flu, holy fuck, are we doing some testing on this COVID? Okay. So we're doing like, okay, so when you swab them, it goes to a fucking lab and it tests them for flu, all this other shit, right? SARS, 1, 2, 3, fucking, I don't even know, man. It's a shit ton. Like maybe 6 tests. I don't know. So you know if it's flu or if it's the COVID this or COVID that, and it gets reported right there. Boop, done. That's your positive case. Boop, it gets reported. The sheer amount of that is a lot of testing. So your numbers will be higher. It will be higher because you're doing it that way. But you're not reporting flu. So long story short, if you say, well, COVID's been like higher than flu, but like, is it?
Oh, I see. If somebody's comparing the two, it's not a fair comparison.
It isn't by a lot too, because I'll have.
I get that, but you know what? I mean, they look at statistics. They know how much gets reported, and they can kind of extrapolate numbers on that because flu's old hat, right?
Which you would want, but I'm just saying. Okay, so for flu, you would get like out of 80, and say you tested, you would test 25 in a pack. We would have these 15-minute tests real quick, right? You'd get maybe 10, maybe 15. When we do, and that's per day. So when we do COVID testing, we're hitting 80, 80 tests, and that's just our little rinky-dink place, right?
Oh, but you're doing a lot of tests.
Yes. Yeah. And you get like 2 or 3 that are positive. This is confirmed. It's not. See, the difference between flu is like you're the person, the medical sister, or nurse, or whatever. You're looking at the test, you're like, oh yeah, it's positive, negative, But this test, we have no hand in it. It just goes out, right? And then it's automatic, so it's definitively positive. You know what I mean? So with the flu, you would get like 10, 15 positives in a day, and it's like, I mean, kind of legit. Maybe there's more, maybe there's less. Who knows? But with this COVID, it's definitive. So, and it's way more people are getting tested. Way more people are getting tested, and some people are coming back positive. So the numbers aren't like, I don't know what to say, man. We didn't do this before with all the other tests. You know what I mean? Even with swine flu and bird flu, it still wasn't like that.
It was never as big a thing here. I mean, it came here. I think swine flu came here.
Yeah. So did
bird flu.
Yeah.
They came here. But we didn't have to shut down like this. But
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm going from my experience. I'm like, we never shut down, but the numbers didn't really reflect. I mean, like they were high, but not like with this COVID, in the sense that, I mean, if it was treated the same way, you wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Like if COVID was treated like flu, and like it was with the other one, you wouldn't know it would be that high. Because, okay, so you're getting 80 people and you're getting a positive of 6 people in that day, like positive. But then when you're back in time, for the other test, it would be way more for those. You would have 10 people, 20 people, you know what I mean? And then
but we know what to do with flu. We don't have as many weapons against COVID.
Not there yet. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, numbers wise, we're going to see it more because we are testing more and we're reporting it more.
And that's without a vaccine.
Right.
So I'm getting 10, 15 flus positive, a day. And this is for the last like 10 years when there's a flu season. So it's a lot more. It's not getting reported. And guess what we have? We have vaccines.
Yeah.
We have flu. We have antiviral. We have those two things, yet way higher numbers. But it's not getting reported. And the numbers kind of just don't track like that.
Right.
But with this COVID, there you go. You got like 6, and this is without a vaccine. This is without antiviral or hydrochloroquine, whatever.
Without a way without a surefire way to respond to it.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
Yeah.
Numbers without the way to attack it. More numbers with flu, and we have ways of attacking it. Yet we're shutting down for the COVID, but we're not shutting. I'm not like, hey man, dude, I'm not political. Well, I mean, I kind of am, but I mean.
Right.
But I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just saying from my experience of numbers, I mean, like, it doesn't make sense to shut down then. If you go by, like, if it was just me in these people that I'm testing, I'm like, why did we shut down with this, not this? At least we have vaccines here and it's more people. Well, here we don't have a vaccine. It's less people. So when we get the vaccine, of course, naturally, it should.
Yeah, we should. I mean, theoretically, we're supposed to be able to go back to normal once we get a vaccine, right?
Doesn't make this a sense to shut down. It just doesn't. For the amount of
well, it does right now because we don't have a surefire way to respond.
I hear you, but like, there's more numbers with the flu. Even that, and you know how I caught up on this? How I got caught? How I came up with this thinking? I had just finished a day, right? It was a lot. It was unfucking real, dude. I was really sweating this, dude. It was like busy fucking day. It got so bad that I was like, fuck, I'm not wearing my clothes inside. You know what I mean? Because it was like that many people coughing, that many people fucking, like, when you put it in their nose, they breathe out. This fucking hurts. Or not hurts, but it's weird. And I was like, my fucking outfit has COVID. That's how I felt,
Yeah.
So I walked in naked, to take a shower, burn those clothes. No, I just keep them outside in the sunlight,
Right.
and then I'll wash them the next day. But I was talking. We were having a small get together, and one of my wife's brother-in-law. Okay, so my brother-in-law, he is hardcore. He's like, the hardcore Republican. He's the opposite, Democrat. Like, whatever the fuck happens, Democrats are for us, man. They're trying to save our lives, that kind of guy, And Obama is our Jesus, that kind of thing, And he says, I was telling him about it. I was like, this fucking thing, I don't even think they should shut down. Only because of what, I shouldn't have said that. I felt bad about that. Sorry, Bryce, if you ever see this. I shouldn't have said my thoughts because he was of the devout. He's not thinking as in, like, let me think about it. Let's talk about it. It's devout. It's like, if the Democrats were to say, kill your firstborn, you're killing your firstborn. You know what I mean? So he was just like, yeah, the Democrats are helping us and that fucking Trump. And then he would say, what did he say? I go, yeah, man, dude, I don't think there's any way to really quell this. I really don't think they should have stopped it because, like, you're not getting that many cases. And then, like, we're going to get a vaccine. And I was just like, and then flu is way more. I said that because I'm going by in my mind, like, how many people. So I test like 10, 15 positives in a day. And then with COVID, I'm only getting like 2 or 3, maybe 6
Right.
out of 80, you know what I mean? Or 90 or 100, and that's just my clinic. And I think of other clinics and I just use that kind of basis in my head. And then he goes, no, it's my wife. She goes, no, flu gets, what did she say? COVID tests higher. There's more COVID cases than there are flu in this certain amount of time. And I've heard that before. And I was like, really? And I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. Because I'm going from my own experience. So I look it up and she was right. And I was like, that doesn't fucking make sense. Because like you're getting way more flu than you are COVID. And this, I'm just going by experience. Like I'm getting a lot of more flu. Like,
but you're right. It's probably just the reporting.
Yeah.
That's creating the difference in the numbers. But as far as to shut down or not to shut down, I don't think we should shut down nationally, because different places have different capacities in terms of hospitals.
No, I'm with that though.
Yeah.
It up. Even with flu, it's like the same thing. If they go overrun, we should shut down a little so we can bring it back up. I'm with that. But say we are back. Say we got enough personnel, right? We shouldn't shut down. We should have fucking figured this shit out. When we first started shutting down, we've talked about this, hiring people and getting it ready. And then we're ready. Okay. Exactly. Open up and then we're ready to attack, as in you're going to fucking get it. Or like the flu. Like, I don't want to get the flu, but it happens. You know what I mean? Like, I try to avoid it at all times because it's in my field, but I don't want to get the flu. I've gotten it like maybe twice.
What's the mortality rate for COVID versus the flu right now, though?
I don't know. And
like the actual like deaths per cases.
Well, nah, you know what? I don't know. I just don't. I don't think. Okay. I don't know, man. I just don't know. But you know what though? I do know this though. I would just Google it because I feel like if I Google it, I'll fuck it up. I don't know why. But okay, so what was I gonna say? Okay, so when there was an elderly person that had flu, my thoughts were this person's dead. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, because they're gonna get the pneumonia and they're out. And then you know what? When they die of the pneumonia, they don't say flu, they say pneumonia. You know what I mean? But that is a thing where flu causes pneumonia. It's called flu causes pneumonia. So that's not a thing in which you would say, oh yeah, they died of pneumonia. Same thing with COVID. I bet money it's the same thing. And that's what I hear Republicans saying, something like, well, they died of a car accident, so they have COVID. So what the fuck, car accidents and COVID, you know? And like, I'm like, no, I think that's COVID causing pneumonia and then you die. And then so you call it COVID, but I don't think they do that with flu. But I don't know. That's bro science right there. I'm at bro science mode right there.
If this chart, no, it's death rate by age.
You know what? Let me pause and then let's go look it up. So that way there's no like.
Yeah, like dead space.
How do you pause? Where's the pause button? Pause button. Oh, I see it. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not like they made the same argument. How do you end the share?
I gotta stop the share.
Oh, yeah.
But okay, really quick. Then let's just assume that this is the number.
Okay.
Right. Let's just say that this is the number. 6%, 52 times worse than the flu death rate. Down here, hospitalizations, 69. Nice. Hospitalizations per 100,000 people versus 98.4.
Yeah.
For COVID.
Yeah.
So hospitalizations for COVID is worse. And if you look at it, that means you're going to have more than double, about 250% capacity, if you lump them both in at the same time. We're not built for that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not built for that. So, I mean, I don't like closing. I think it sucks.
No. But like, okay.
Depending on the area, and number of cases, capacity, blah, blah, blah.
So my argument wasn't any of that. It works like this. So so the argument for COVID, right, is, oh, they were in a car accident and they had COVID. So therefore they're, they didn't really die of COVID. They died of the car accident, or they didn't die of the heart attack. They died of COVID.
I've heard of that.
You know what I mean? That. Well, they're getting that because of flu. Flu does that too. Like, so if you die of pneumonia caused by flu, usually you'll say caused by pneumonia, died of pneumonia, died of this, died of that. But it was the flu that caused it. And because you don't really diagnose the flu, sometimes you'll just go by the symptoms, and then it develops into pneumonia, or a heart attack or whatever the fuck. You'll say, yeah, this is how they died. They died of this. Not flu, they died of this. But that's just the normal thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a thing that needs to be tracked as much as COVID is. So the arguments for the Republicans is really a thing based off of flu. And going into what we're talking now, we have stats right now of COVID doing this and saying, oh yeah, this is how many people are dying. Way worse. But that's more of a thing in which we're reporting accurately. You know what I mean? Like, but not flu. Flu is not being reported accurately. It's reported somewhat. And it's because the fact that they have vaccines and fucking Tamiflu and all these antiviral meds, that's why we don't report like exact. If we try, I propose this. If you were to test at the same level for flu as you do for this COVID. Like I'm talking 80 people, and I have like I'm fucking testing left and right, just like I'm doing with COVID. I can guarantee it'd probably be higher with flu as opposed to COVID. But right now, of course, your numbers are just higher. And you're right. You're right. Just by that math, it works. But what I'm saying is, these people dying from flu and shit like that.
Well, I mean, let's take the numbers out of it then.
Okay.
Do we have a response for COVID?
What do you mean?
Do we have a way to treat COVID and tell somebody, you got COVID, we'll deal with this right now?
I hear what you're saying.
You know? Because I mean, I wouldn't want to be placed in a fucking medically induced coma and have a fucking
you wouldn't want flu
shown down my throat.
You wouldn't want flu. You wouldn't want pneumonia. You would not want them.
Yeah, I wouldn't want those either. But the thing is, I mean, we kind of know what to do with those.
No, you don't. It's the same. It's almost relatively the fucking same thing. COVID, like we don't have anything for COVID. We don't really have anything for flu other than vaccines and antiviral meds if you catch it in the beginning. But 9 times out of 10, you getting flu. That's happening. You know what I mean? Like the vaccine isn't 100%. It's somewhat effective.
Yeah.
The antiviral isn't 100%. It's somewhat effective.
Right.
I mean, and I get you. We don't have anything for COVID, but I mean, we didn't have anything for fucking swine flu. We didn't have anything for bird flu. We just had, we do now. Like we do have vaccines that kind of cover it, but we didn't before, and we didn't shut down.
Yeah, and I mean, you could say that
we did.
But we were heavily invested abroad, with task force and teams and shit, stuff that currently kind of got dismantled. But I've also heard on the other side of that argument too, coronavirus is a lot more aggressive, and so it kind of a wash. I mean, you could say, our world presence isn't there like it was before, where we could stop shit before it got here. And that's pretty much what happened with like Ebola and shit like that. But with coronavirus, I mean, we've been shunned the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And we've pulled out of a lot, but shit, we're pulling out of Germany, Now
you're making it political. I'm trying to keep it to the science.
No. I understand, but the thing is, it's here. And there's a reason why we're here. I'm not trying to.
No,
I'm not trying to. It's political where you want it to be political or not, because the response.
Keep it here with the science. I'm just saying.
Well, the thing is,
here
it's hard to separate the two. It's hard to separate.
It's actually
the politics of this.
It's pretty easy. We can always say he said, she said, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know what I mean? For any disaster, right? But we could deal with now and no history. So what do we have now?
You just contradicted yourself in the same fucking breath.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
When we talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda, we're talking about history. We're talking about what happened in this situation and what should have been done instead.
No. You can't.
Not only that, doing the exact same thing over and over again, and we're expecting a different result.
You can't just create a task force and put them back in time. We're having it right now. What I said, it's more nuanced than that. It's this shit happened, okay? Like, just as if a fucking meteorite hit Florida, and we're like, oh shit, should have had Space Force. No, let's not talk about that. Let's move forward in what we have. What happens when you have a big explosion in Florida? What do? This is what we do. Okay, moving that aside, we're talking about this virus. It's here now, okay? So what do we have now? When I said look at history, you look at what we got. So what are we doing more now than we did before? Testing. And I get it, That's why I said it was a complicated thing that gave Trump the sentence, hey, yeah, probably the reason why we're seeing more COVID cases is quite literally is because we're testing. It sounds stupid, right? But it really is.
No, I understand kind of the logic behind it.
Yeah.
If you see it more, then you're going to see it more. If you're looking for it more, you're going to see it more. My bad.
But just like flu, like if we were to track flu in the same way that we did with COVID, it'd probably be higher. And then the sentence would be then said, why is it we're shutting down if like the numbers are so like this? You know what I mean? Like we're not shutting down because of cardiovascular disease. We're not shutting down because of this. And we're only tracking COVID because of what it is now. Politically.
The problem with Trump saying that is that he's using that as an argument against testing. So would you say that we should test less?
No, that's stupid. Yeah, that's a strong.
Okay, so that's the problem with Trump saying that. Trump is saying that as an argument against testing.
And then, you know what? It's a confusing thing, right? So say they did to counter my point. How would we do this? We would test more. Oddly enough, though, testing the COVID, right? Is it does test for flu. The test we're doing that we send out, it is testing for flu. So those numbers are going to get out there. You know what I mean? Right now, COVID's reigning supreme, but like when flu season hits, we'll actually. I wonder. I'll have more. I'll have more to say later on.
I said it back in February. I was like, you know what, this COVID thing is gonna be like a second flu season, which is gonna suck because we're built for one.
Yeah.
We're not built for two.
I wonder when flu season hits, right? How that will play out. Because when you test out for the fucking COVID, we have been reporting flu, by the way. Like we've had some positive flu, along with COVID. Not as in they got COVID and they got flu, but
Yeah.
people like, oh, I'm fucking sick. And then we do the swap and it's flu. And we have been reporting that too. So, I mean, that's now and it's not even in season. So I wonder what would happen if we start when flu season hits and then you start seeing people come in, of course, right? Because they think, oh, they got COVID, right? But it's actually flu because it's flu season. And then when the numbers skew that way, you know what I mean? Because like as of
That'd be interesting.
Do you see where I'm getting at?
Yeah. Because if we're testing this aggressively, we'll have a clearer picture, of what's going on in a couple months, actually.
You know what? In retrospect, I wonder. Well, they didn't have the way, but if they had done that from the beginning, we would have been in a different place.
We're still in the middle of a flu season when it came out.
So what's this? But like we weren't testing like that though. Like with the swab, and then it tests both. I wonder if we had the numbers, right? Say we had the numbers, right? Say 100 people's real bad, right? So say its flu is more than COVID by a lot. What's the set? What is it then? Will we close down?
We'd probably still close down, depending on whether or not we have something to defend ourselves. I mean, we don't even have a vaccine right now. But and then do we have enough capacity in the hospitals to handle all the cases?
Yeah, but say we do shore up our defenses. Not like I'm not talking about like flu vaccine, but I'm saying get the personnel because that was the goal, right? For the shutdown is to get our personnel up, and I think we did because you don't see the ICUs filling up. You don't. That's not a number.
They should have just been straightforward from Jump Street. I mean, there was no way. Those dudes are smart enough to where they knew we were not going to be able to go back to normal until we had a vaccine. Right?
Possibly.
So that 15 days to slow the spread at the beginning, and I'm not just blaming Trump, I'm blaming whoever was around him at the same time too, for not getting the word out. If they were muzzled, then I'll blame whoever muzzled them. But if they should have known, hey, you know what? We're going to be living with this for at least a year and a half until we have a vaccine, and maybe even another 6 months after that, because then we got to give it to everybody. And we don't really have an infrastructure to even pump out COVID vaccines and flu vaccines. Again, we have a system for one, not for two of them.
I agree.
What they should have said, we're going to take this 45 days to slow the spread, really just to build up our infrastructure, and we're going to do that as fuck. And we're going to implement the Defense Production Act and all this shit, and we're just going to fucking start stacking sandbags to get ready for when we have to open up, because there's no fucking way we can close the economy and pay every fucking person in the country $1,200 a month and an extra we got to talk about this and an extra $600 a week if you're on unemployment for a year and a half. We can't do that.
Let me talk to you about that. Let's shift gears because I really we're beating this to death. I just don't see. Well, I gave out my points. You gave out your.
Yeah.
I mean, and then.
No, I got it. No, and I think it'd be really interesting if we get all the numbers this fall. You bring up a great point. It'd be really cool to see what the numbers.
Because I was just like, am I going crazy fucking here? Because like numbers are so high, but you're right. I mean, with shoring the defenses, but it gets to a point where it's like supposedly a higher survivable rate because it's like 99 point.
We don't know.
Yeah, you're right. And then what? Like people keep throwing it back at me. Well, it's 99.7%, survivability rate, and I was just like, well, 0.3 is like a lot out of 350 million
people. A lot
of
fucking people. If you just let everybody get sick, 0.3%.
Well, we should all come to a number.
100 million people.
Because flu kills X amount of people supposedly, and then so what like as long as it's over that and we're good with that, I don't know. All right, let's talk about stimulus. I'm with you on this. I was I was seeing the numbers. Okay, so it's like
0.3% of 400 million people is 12 million people.
people can't see right. What
Imagine if 12 million people died in 6 months.
that that's a lot.
That's what they're saying.
All right,
Oh, it's only 0.3%. I can live with that.
about the shutdown. I'm just saying, fuck. Well, no, maybe we need.
Oh shit, that hurt my back, dude. That's a fucking Holocaust.
Man, imagine. I think if we lost 12 million people, maybe that'd be something. Maybe no. What I'm saying is, okay. So
Okay,
when
let's talk about
you got that 9/11, right?
that was
People see 9/11.
3,000 people.
You know, people are like, okay, we got to go to war, right? Because there's 3,000 people, right? But at 12 million people, do you think then when I tell somebody to put their mask on, do you think they give me shit? If 12 million people died?
One would happen first before the other. Like I said, you just look at the fucking airports. They still have all the shit, if not more, security than when 9/11 happened. So sometimes something has to happen that
But
in your face.
we accept the TSA.
Yeah, it's a security blanket.
But people don't
I
accept
guess
the masks.
no. Dude, I didn't know people were getting $600 a week
Already
extra
on top of the unemployment.
on top of unemployment.
Yeah.
I'm me, I'm hardcore Democrat, but dude, I agree with the Republicans like 100%. It'll be slower, but the way unemployment works, you get reimbursed back to when you filed or became unemployed. 70%. I think the response, whatever comes out of the government, it should supplement unemployment up to 70% of what somebody was making, because
Well,
you don't have all the same bills that you had
I know
pre-COVID.
it's 600 plus whatever. And no, it maxes out at 8. It's like
8,000?
no. What I'm saying is per check, it's $800, I think, per or $400 per week, or something like that. It comes up to 800 every 2 weeks. Plus, they're getting 600 on top of that.
Yes.
So that's way more than but it maxes out. Say you made $100,000, your maximum employment's only gonna be $800. That's legit.
So $800 a week?
Now
Plus $600 a week?
2 weeks, so it's like $400 a week.
So 1,600 plus 2,400 is $4,000
Wait, no. Is it $600 a month or check?
a week. $600 a week is what the federal government is supplementing on top of unemployment. So whatever you get for unemployment, let's say you get $1,600 a month, which unemployment is more than that.
No.
Yeah, unemployment is more than that.
Wait up. Unemployment.
I know. I had to look it up too. It's $600 a week. You get $2,400 on top of your unemployment.
It's a max. No, that can't be. I'm getting mad though, because I've been working since this whole time. So if you're eligible, it's $362 a week. And then they're getting that COVID. So it's 362. So that's pretty close. COVID unemployment, because it can't be, because that's a lot. Check amount 600 per. Oh, okay. Well, wait. Wait a minute.
So I think it's so that's why you have cases where people are making more money to stay home than to go to work. And I don't like that the Republicans are trying to spin it like, or no, the Democrats, I'm sorry, are trying to spin it like, oh, the Republicans are saying that people are lazy. It's not that people are lazy, but it's just common sense.
I want unemployment.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not out of laziness. It's just common sense. If you're worried about your health,
that's
and
almost
you can make more
$1,000
money by staying home.
They're making $4,000 a fucking month. That's what that is. Ooh.
$2,400 a month on top of your unemployment.
No, it's not 2,400. It should be more, right? Because if you're making
What's 6 times 4, Kevin?
no, I mean like no, you got 350 or
What's
6.
600 a week times 4 weeks?
I know, but 365 plus 600 is around 9, almost $1,000. So it's $4,000 a month. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I was saying. 2,400 on top of your unemployment, whatever you're getting.
It's pretty.
So what the Republican plan says that we shouldn't be giving just a blanket $600 a week to everybody, that we should be supplementing them to 70% of their pay.
Oh, I hear you.
And that to me makes sense because you're basically getting whatever you were living on minus 30%. You're not driving anywhere. You know, you're cooking more at home. You may as well fucking cut the cord and buy a book. You know, there's things you can do to cut costs, you know?
That's man, that's 50 grand a year. I just did the math. That's more than I make. Well, kind of, but yeah, it's more than I make, and I went to college.
Yeah, so I'm down with the Republican plan 70%, maybe 80%, you know. But the counter argument, it's a big one, it's an important one, is that it would take longer to get them the benefits because they would have to do the whole proof of income to calculate the 70%. It just adds a little bit more bureaucracy to it. But again, if you back pay them, that'll help. The longer they take to get it done, the harder it'll be to get it done because people were living, I think it was like, 8 out of 10 households are living paycheck to paycheck. I read this morning. 8 out of 10 households are living paycheck to paycheck. So that means if Congress waits a month, those people are fucked, right? Yeah, that's...
Wait. So it's like $1,000 a fucking week? How long has this been going on for?
The whole time.
Since March?
Imagine some people got back paid, reimbursed to March.
April.
Or whenever they lost their job. So like, you know, you lose your job at the end of March because of the shutdown. Yeah. You lose your job at the end of March because of the shutdown. If it takes a month for you to get qualified through EDD and all that shit, they'll back pay you that month and they give you the next one. So some people got like a fucking fat ass check, right?
Okay, so I know a guy. We went camping, and I didn't know he didn't have a job, but he bought a bunch of shit for camping, like pretty much glamping, right? And I was like, God, man, dude, he's fucking rolling in dough. And then like, we were talking, right? And I'm talking how much I'm working every fucking day, and he's all like, yeah, man, I gotta find myself a job. And I didn't know what that meant. And I looked at him like, oh, you don't have a job? Yeah, I've just been collecting unemployment. Oh, that's cool. And I really just didn't know. I thought I felt bad for him, but I saw him. He bought a lot of shit. I didn't.
He said, I got to get a job because the benefit ended on the 1st of August.
Okay, let's talk about this Trump thing. So he executive order for this to make it $400.
You know what? He played it awesome, you know, because he did something without doing anything. The thing that he did, he just had somebody else write it up. He gave him pretty much, I mean, every president does it, right? Told him, make me look good. Because all of the things he could do, he can't really do. Yeah, he's doing the $400 a month. I'm down with that. But the problem is the states have to agree to it in order to fund it. So
he made
the states can't do it because they don't have any money, right? The states don't have money. The state's got to kick in 25% of those $400. So the state has to kick in $100 per person. Federal's going to kick in $300 per person. That's if they can even do it. So basically the state is taking the risk of dispersing this money with the promise from the federal government that they're going to get the other $300 per person per week.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a promise from Trump.
So
who's going to take that?
But at least he's doing this. He go, I'll look good, but it won't work.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work because he doesn't have the power to do it. But it makes everybody else look bad because he's going to be able to blame all the fucking governors, right? Yeah. He's going to be able to start fucking shooting arrows at them and telling them, hey, I put this in. You didn't do your part. And it was only 25%. Yeah. They don't have the money, and it's a promise from Trump, and then they got to disperse because they disperse the money. The state disperses the money on a promise from the federal government that is going to come. But he might not even have the ability to say that he's going to give them that money anyways. So in the end, the states are basically left holding the bill. the student aid, not a moratorium. I don't know what the word is, but like the deferments for student aid repayments.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good one. Unless you're working,
Yeah.
then I think you should be paying. I'm working. I think I should be paying. Right? But I'm coming out of this divorce, so the money, instead of doing that, I've been fucking lobbying it at my credit cards that I used to pay these fucking lawyers. Um, what else did he do in it? Um, the payroll tax. Um, that's tough because Social Security is funded through the payroll tax, and he's basically taking money out of Social Security to say that he's going to pay for this shit. That hurts.
Wait.
I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the payroll tax is, if you're getting paid, there's a payroll tax, so you get to keep that money. That doesn't make sense to me.
Do you think they should be paying these fucking people?
If people are working, then that means they still have their jobs. They should keep paying taxes, right? I'm working. I'm still getting paid. I think I should still be paying taxes. I don't need a tax cut. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't need that because I'm working.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? I'm down with giving money to people that can't work right now. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Supplement up to 70% of what they were making before. No fucking reason for them to be making almost as much as what I'm making for nothing. I think it's legitimately a disincentive, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm not calling these people lazy. It's just it's common fucking sense, and it's human nature. If you get paid for doing nothing, you're gonna do nothing. Especially if you have kids at home and they need your attention so they can go to school and shit like that.
So like, for instance, like I got to Michigan, and since I had moved from California to Michigan before this happened, I had to quit my job, so I couldn't collect unemployment. So I'm trying to like find a job. I couldn't find one, so I ended up working at like a fucking Domino's. You know what I mean? So here I am working, and I'm like,
shouldn't have worked.
Well, I couldn't get unemployment because I had quit my job. You can't get unemployment if you quit.
Shit. There's things where, like, if you move,
I looked to it. No.
But you moved because your wife had an employment opportunity somewhere else, and I think you would have been able to get it through there. You probably had to appeal it. Did you appeal it?
Nah, I didn't even try. I was
you should have appealed it and said, you know what, I lost my job because my wife got a better job somewhere else. Well, you got to argue it the way it's written, right? Because I tried to get unemployment, my ex tried to get unemployment, and I remember seeing a provision like that.
Yeah.
Like if the business moves, then you're good because you're laid off, right? Or if for a family thing you have to move, then there's provisions for that too. I think I might be wrong.
I'm good at working, but I'm not good at like looking at the system in that way. And
you should have just started throwing pizzas at people, dude.
No, but like the guy I know who's making so much money, he did the thing where he goes, I can't be doing these kind of jobs, man. I got this, I got that. And I'm like, I didn't say anything, but in my head, I'm like, I'm fucking working in a goddamn pizza place. You know what I mean? I'm making way less doing that. And then he's all like on this kind of high horse, like, oh, fuck that. I went to college. What the fuck? Wait, I'm working Domino's. What the fuck, guy? When he's been making.
That's what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, because if I was making that much money, of course I'm not going to try to work some menial job. He has to do it now because they canceled. So now he's just that guy, and he's feeling it. So he's all depressed and shit. So I was talking to him, and he was all like depressed. But then I was thinking about all these things, right? The unemployment and everything. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, you can get a job.
You probably don't feel so bad for him anymore because he was getting all that money. Probably could have worked under the table somewhere, made more money, and put some of that away. Instead, he decided to fucking floss. And
damn, dude, I didn't know that shit. Hey, you know what? We're turning into a pumpkin. It's time. Because I didn't introduce another topic. So I was like, hey, do you have any? We shouldn't introduce any other topics.
I think those were good.
It was pretty good. I didn't think we'd go this. I didn't think, man, I really didn't think that would happen. I figured we'd get into some kind of nerd talk, but we kept the COVID strong. That's what I'm gonna name this one. So, as always, if you like the podcast and everything, this is the first short one we could do. I mean, this is amazing. I'm fucking. This is an achievement because I know right now, if I fucking open my book, we can go another 3 hours. But we'll save it for later. This was good talk. I learned a lot today. You know what I mean? The shutdown's good. You know what? Some lady told me she
Good-ish. Good-ish.
good-ish.
If
This
it's
lady,
done right.
yeah. Well, this one lady, she goes, fucking Michigan. She goes, and she's all weird. I was like, so what kind of blood pressure medication are you on? Because she said she was on one. She goes, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna list some blood pressure meds, and you just tell me if it's that one, okay? So I go lisinopril, because that's like the main. And then she goes, well, I mean that's the one I got. And then she goes, I know why you said that. And I go, huh? What? What do you mean? She goes, because black people always take that. And I'm like, what? And I was just blown away by that because I was just like, what, that's a thing? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, and I was like, wait, so like, is that like black people only get lisinopril because of like social dynamics? I never even heard of that. Only in Michigan, man.
Did you tell her, well, I take it too? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I said I took it too. I didn't like it because it made me cough. And she goes, yeah, it made me cough too. And I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know where we're going with this.
Probably diffused it right there.
Well, yeah, of course, naturally. I know how to diffuse, but I'm just saying, like, the way people think, you know what I mean? Like, turning,
That's the first thing they go to. Well, but you know what? That comes from trauma too. You know,
yeah.
that comes from her either experiencing it or seeing it in the news or hearing about it from stories from other people.
It's a rough go to live in a world in which you are irrational. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah. As a defense mechanism.
Yeah, like it's like, pizza guy killed my mother, and therefore every time we see a pizza guy, I'm irrational. I know why you're here because you're gonna kill my mother or some shit like that. So yeah, I gotta go. So as always, please like and subscribe. We're on YouTube, Podcastforme. We're on the iTunes where podcasts are out, and we are out. And I'm gonna hit that stop button.